The moment they laughed at him while he scrubbed the floor was the moment everything was already lost for them. They just did not know it yet. Welcome back, everyone. Today I want to tell you a story that sounds unbelievable, but is rooted in very real things that happen in workplaces every day. This is a story about power, pride, and how people treat others when they think no one important is watching. This happened in a large office building in Chicago. It was a modern glass tower with law firms, tech startups, and consulting companies renting floors. Everyone in that building believed they knew who mattered and who did not. At the center of this story is a man named Daniel Brooks. To most people in the building, Daniel was just a night janitor. He wore a faded grey jacket. He pushed a cleaning cart. He worked quietly after hours when most employees had gone home. Daniel showed up every evening at exactly 7. He mopped floors. He wiped desks. He emptied trash cans. He never complained. He never argued. He kept his head down and did his job. Most people barely noticed him. Some noticed him and looked down on him. A few went out of their way to make his life harder. There was a group of young professionals on the 10th floor who thought they were above everyone else. They worked for a fast-growing marketing firm. They dressed sharp. They talked loud. They believed the building belonged to people like them. Whenever Daniel cleaned their floor, they made comments. They laughed about how he was still mopping floors at his age. They left trash behind on purpose. They spilled coffee and walked away. One woman in particular stood out. Her name was Allison. She was a team lead who loved being in charge. She treated everyone below her like they were invisible. Allison would step over wet floor signs. She would drop paper cups near Daniel and tell him to clean it again. She rolled her eyes whenever he passed by. Daniel never reacted. He simply nodded and continued working. That silence only made people mock him more. Some employees even gave him a nickname behind his back. They called him Basement Man because they assumed that was where his life belonged. What no one knew was why Daniel was really there. They assumed he needed the job to survive. They assumed he had no other options. They assumed wrong. Daniel was not just a janitor. He was the owner of the building. Years earlier, Daniel had built a successful real estate company from nothing. He grew up poor and worked his way through college. He learned construction. He learned finance. He learned patience. By his mid-40s, he owned several commercial properties. This building was one of his biggest investments. But Daniel had a rule for himself. He never trusted reports alone. He believed culture mattered more than numbers. So once every few years, he went undercover in one of his buildings. He wanted to see how people treated others when power seemed absent. In this case, he became the janitor. Only 2 people knew the truth, his lawyer and the head of building security. For 6 months, Daniel watched everything. He watched who said hello. He watched who ignored him. He watched who showed kindness and who showed cruelty. He took mental notes at first. Later, he used a small recorder in his jacket, not to trap people, but to protect the truth. He saw how Allison spoke to interns. He saw how managers blamed staff for mistakes they caused. He saw how janitors and security were treated like furniture. The worst behavior always came when people thought no one important was around. That told Daniel everything he needed to know. Then came the day everything changed. The building management sent out an email. There would be a surprise visit from the building owner. All companies were asked to send representatives to the main conference hall. Panic spread fast. Managers practiced speeches. People adjusted their clothes and smiles. Allison rehearsed her talking points 4 days. She believed this was her moment. She believed a promotion was coming. On the day of the meeting, the room was packed. Executives sat in the front rows. Employees whispered nervously. The air felt tight. The doors at the back of the room opened. Everyone turned around. Daniel walked in, not in his janitor jacket, not pushing a cart. He wore a tailored suit. His posture was straight. His presence filled the room. People stared but did not understand. Alison frowned in confusion. She whispered to her co-worker, asking why the janitor was there. Daniel walked to the front. He placed his hands on the table. The room fell silent. He introduced himself calmly. He explained that he was the owner of the building. He explained that he had spent months working inside it as a janitor. You could feel the shock spread like a wave. Faces turned pale. Mouths fell open. Alison froze. She looked like the ground had disappeared under her feet. Daniel continued speaking. He talked about respect. He talked about how success reveals character, not status. Then he addressed behavior, not in anger, in facts. He described actions he had personally experienced. Trash thrown on clean floors, mocking comments, disrespect toward service staff. He did not raise his voice. He did not insult anyone. That made it worse. Daniel called Alison forward. Security stood nearby. The room held its breath. He explained that her behavior violated building conduct rules. He explained that her company lease allowed termination for repeated abuse of staff. Alison tried to speak. No sound came out. Her company was fined. She was removed from her leadership role. She was escorted out of the building that same day. Daniel then did something unexpected. He thanked 3 people by name. The receptionist who greeted him every night. The intern who helped him carry supplies once. The accountant who shared food with him during late hours. They were rewarded. One received a scholarship. One received a promotion recommendation. One received a bonus funded personally by Daniel. The message was clear. Kindness had been noticed. Cruelty had been recorded. Daniel ended the meeting simply. He said respect costs nothing but changes everything. In the weeks that followed, the building management enforced new rules. Every company was required to attend respect and conduct training. Not as a punishment, as a reset. Daniel personally reviewed tenant behavior reports. He did not micromanage. He observed patterns. He believed patterns told the truth faster than excuses. Some employees quit on their own. They said the environment felt uncomfortable now. What they really meant was that they could no longer act superior without consequences. After that day, the building felt different. People spoke softer. They said thank you more often. They noticed the people they used to ignore. The janitorial team noticed the difference immediately. For the first time, they felt visible. They felt respected. They felt human. One older cleaner said it was the first building where he felt proud to work. Another said she stopped dreading night shifts. Those things never showed up on balance sheets. But Daniel believed they mattered more than profit margins. Alison tried to fight the outcome. She hired a lawyer. She claimed humiliation. She claimed unfair treatment. But the recordings were clear. The witnesses were many. Her case collapsed quietly. Her company moved out within 3 months. No other firm wanted her in a leadership role. After the story spread, reputation travels faster than resumes. Daniel never worked as a janitor again. He did not need to. Months later, Daniel walked through the building during business hours. Not undercover, not hidden. People stood straighter when he passed. Not out of fear, out of awareness. He stopped by the front desk. The receptionist smiled and thanked him again. Daniel thanked her back, but the story traveled fast. Every new tenant heard it. Every new hire learned it. And every time someone looked down on another person, they remembered what happened in that room. That is the story I wanted to share today. Not because it is shocking, but because it is real. People show who they are when they think it does not matter. Sometimes it matters more than anything. If you enjoyed this story, remember to treat everyone with dignity. You never know who is watching, and you never know who someone really is.